Maybe that's what Carrie, I asked Carrie, I didn't realize
The bill said.
I like your little team on your clip.
Oh, thank you. Cody's brother's girlfriend got that. It's a Conrad Fisher campus.
This is the audio test for the Bluffton Town Council meeting, January the 13th, 2026. Starting at 5 p.m. Audio test. Podium microphone.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ride one of Mr. Hamilton's Cadillacs. That was fun and great. The Corvettes. I got to get that right before I ask him to ride. Yeah.
This is the podium microphone 1.
I love the team on mine. Do you like Keelan?
Podium microphone 2.
She's like,
I like Keelan cheesecake.
Podium microphone 3. That is podium 5.
life changing.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Last one.
Podium 6. Podium.
Red velvet cake.
Sorry, not 6. Number 7, dais. Dais, microphone 7. This is the dais, microphone 8. And 9 on the dais.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. So give me some good ideas for my gathering time today. Do you want give me some ideas?
You need me
It was here and.
So online,
I don't
know if it tells me on here, what do they take out for me for retirement? I'm sorry, Larry.
You'll take out whatever the state is, whatever.
I don't know what
The employee portion is like
When I
60%.
when I first got elected, I told them to take as much as I can. Well, as much as,
So for retirement,
oh, it's,
the state retirement is like 9%, and then we require to put in, is it 7?
That's the climax of it. That
No, I said it's a set.
Yeah, it's a set percentage, and then we match it, it's like,
In here kind of
it's up
thing.
to like 19% now, or something like that.
Deus microphone, this is.
No one uses that one.
Each age is a little different, because some have health insurance, some, you know.
seven
So I don't know which one on there would be the retirement thing.
Let's see, retirement.
Six on the days.
How do you get some information?
Deus microphone. Five.
No, I said, I don't know.
I'll check which time comes when I leave here.
Deus microphone. Four.
Well, you can get the check when they say retirement.
mine doesn't work.
They keep the whole rest.
Microphone.
So we're,
Three on the days.
state is a deferred, is a defined
You guys
indemnity,
think that? I
Two
just
on the days.
not a defined,
So I won't get my money.
but you'll get a check every month, you don't get all your money.
So if I don't live,
Now, you can draw it.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, yeah.
Never you still there?
This is a pleasure. Thank you.
Is there?
All right, I'll let you look at it when I get home.
So what's this mean?
Bye-bye.
Can't see this, it's so small.
That's retirement.
Okay, so that's it.
That's what, that's your contribution.
Contribution.
Every month.
That's what the town puts in.
Every month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Today is Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. We'll call this meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be followed by the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Frazier, if you'll lead us in prayer.
Everyone will bow their heads. Heavenly Father, right now we come thanking you. We thank you for the start of the new year. We thank you, Father God, for the health and strength of our community. We ask your prayers for all grieving families at this time, that you give them the strength, the comfort, Father God, to continue. We ask that you continue to guide our leaders in this community, wherever they are, that you give them the courage to lead with strength and to lead with tenacity and not with fear. We ask, Father God, that you grieve troubled hearts wherever they are. And we ask that as we embark on the upcoming MLK holiday celebration, that you grant and remind all community members and all leaders that together we are greater when we are about the collective of the good. We just ask that you continue to keep and lead each and every one of us. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, up first we will have the swearing in and seating of our newly elected Councilwoman Burton and Councilman Emmett. Who goes first? I guess Mrs. Burton, alphabetically.
It's up to them. We can't jump at that.
Just repeat that. I
Emily Burden,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
of this state,
of this state,
to exercise
to exercise
the duties
the duties
of the office
of the office
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been
and
elected,
that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my
to
ability,
the best of my ability,
discharge
discharge
the duties thereof,
the duties thereof,
and preserve,
and preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the
the
Constitution
Constitution
of this state
of this state
and of the United States,
and of the United States.
so help me God.
So help me God.
As a council member
As a council member
of the town of Bluffton,
of the town of Bluffton,
I will equally,
I will equally,
fairly,
fairly,
and impartially,
and
to
impartially,
the best of my
to
ability
the best of my ability
and skill,
and skill,
exercise
exercise
the trust
the trust
reposed in me,
proposed in me,
and I will
and I will
use my best
use my best
endeavors to
endeavors
preserve
to preserve
the peace
the peace
and carry into effect,
and carry into effect,
according to the law,
according to the law,
the purposes
the purposes
for which I have been elected.
for which I have been
So
elected.
help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. You want to stand with me right here?
See, how you want it to. Set that down.
All right. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you.
I need you to sign. We will be giving out away.
I, Fred Hamilton,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I am duly
that I am duly
qualified according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
of this state
of this state,
to exercise
to exercise
the duties of the office
the duties of this office
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been elected,
and that I will,
that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge
discharge
the duties thereof,
the duties thereof,
and preserve,
and preserve,
protect,
and
defend the
defend
Constitution
the Constitution
of this state
of this state
and of the United States.
and of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
As a council member
As a council member
of the town of Bluffton,
of the town of Bluffton,
I will equally,
I will equally,
fairly,
fairly,
and impartially,
and impartially,
to the best of my
to
ability
the best of my ability
and skill, exercise
exercise
the trust
trust
reposed in me,
reposed in me,
and I will
and I will
use my best
use my best
endeavors
endeavors
to preserve
to preserve
peace
the peace
and carry into effect,
and to carry into effect,
according to the law,
according to the law,
the purposes
the purposes
for which I have been elected.
for which I have been elected.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Any one of my camera members want to take pictures, you're welcome to come up with it.
Great. Okay.
I'm coming.
All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3. I got it. Thank you.
Congratulations, brother. Okay, up next, we are going to do, after every election, every 2 years, we go through the nomination and election of a mayor pro tem. So at this time, I'm asking would anyone like to make a nomination for mayor pro tem?
Yes, Mayor, I would like to nominate our most tenured council member who has a stellar record here. I am nominating Councilman Fred Hamilton for Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, any discussion? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Congratulations. We'll be rolling. I'll keep you busy. All right, up next we have the adoption of the minutes. Mr. Stees, has there been any changes to the minutes?
Staff, well, as council has any mayor.
Any changes any council want to make? Okay. Any motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. That's for the regular meeting minutes. Up next we have presentations, celebrations, and recognitions. Up first we'll have school district, Beaufort County School District Character Student of the Month. And if you know who you are, come on up. I don't have your name. This month's Student of the Month is Jeremiah Grant from May River High School. He's a 12th grader being recognized for the traits of respect and gratitude. Do we have any teachers or family members or anyone that wants to come and tell us a little bit about this young man? Congratulations. Would you like, oh, sorry.
Jeremiah was recognized for respect and gratitude. We are extremely proud of him and his growth academically and personally as a student, and we just want to encourage him to continue to do well, and this is our extended, our pride for him.
Great, congratulations, son. This is for you. Might be some Tootsie Rolls in here, I don't know. I get half of it.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I got it. Thank you.
Up next, we have Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Proclamation. January 15th, 1929 was the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. The Bluffton Martin Luther King Jr. Observance Committee annually hosts a celebration. This year, the theme is Mission Impossible 2, Building Community, Uniting a Nation in a Nonviolent Way. I, Mayor Larry Toomer, along with Bluffton Town Council, do hereby designate and proclaim Monday, January 19, 2026 as Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Is there any, Bridget or anyone that wants to come up and accept this? Would you like to say a few words to everyone and tell them what y'all got going on?
No, I would just accept this proclamation on behalf of the Bluffton MLK committee, and as you know, the MLK weekend is this weekend, and we do have some events happening, so please check your Facebook pages for the Bluffton MLK page for more information. Thank you.
Next, we'll have the annual Pamela Bluff Development Agreement update. Mr. Will Howard with South Street Partners. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Congratulations to Councilman Hamilton and Councilwoman Burton on your re-elections. Thank you for having me tonight. Unfortunately, I forgot my glasses, so bear with me as I get my carries here. Okay, let's just start off with, Pamela Bluff total sales, home sales, lot sales, developer sales that we had in 2025. A little off from 24, but still up from prior years, with the exception of 2021, which was an anomaly during COVID. Things just went really crazy, but we had $322 million total in sales for the year. And if you look, this is the total number of sales. So we had 143 transactions within the Bluff. So as you can see, if you just do the quick math, 143 transactions versus 180 transactions in the prior year, we're right around the same dollar per transaction as what we were in previous years. Average sale price is right around, and this lumps in developer lots too, but average home prices right now are around $3 million. We sold 25 developer lots last year, I believe is the number. So we're right around what we were in 2024. Home construction, this is where I really need the glasses. We are currently at 1,216 certificates of occupancy, so we have 1,216 approved rooftops, approved homes. And we have another, as you can see, another 343 that are either under construction or in the DRB process for a permit. So that number has been pretty consistent for the last few years. We will turn over, as you can see, from the prior year, we were at 1161, so we did about 55 homes that made it through completion to CO. We average that about every year. Average home takes about 18 months to build. So we've got a pretty good pipeline of COs, coming with 343 in the works right now. Our accomplishments, if you will, on the development side, the biggest accomplishment, 4 years that I've been working on, was we recently opened January 2nd, the Anson Point Golf Course. It's the second golf course that we built since South Street acquired the property in 2021. That was, for me, 4 years in the making, 2 years worth of construction. We will deliver 81 lots in what we refer to as Block M4. It's an extension of Moreland Forest. We completed the first phase of Old Anson Road. As many of you are familiar, in 2022, we started construction of the Anson Marina that was really required for us to, that permit was expiring. We constructed a significant portion of that marina to keep the permit active. We later received legislative extensions, so that permit, we have that permit for the next several years. We need to get permanent utilities all the way down to the planning area that we refer to as Anson and Big House Island, so that we can continue that development and possibly work our way back out, back towards Moreland Forest. The only way we can do that is with the road construction of Old Anson Road. With that, we pull all the power, utilities, water and sewer, natural gas, fiber optic, all that gets pulled with road construction. So we completed the first phase of that, the first mile and a half or so of that 6-mile road, and we're going to push forward in 2026. Hopefully another 2 years, I think we can get all of that pushed down to Big House Island so that we can complete the marina and then again work our way back out. Also, as many of you, any of you who have ever been at the Bluff in the past few years, you know that cellular service was not the best. We did deliver, completed and had go live a new cell tower that is owned and operated by SBA Communications. Currently, Verizon is the only carrier that's operational on that tower, but it has extended cell service. We have very consistent cell service, if you will, now within the Bluff. They're still working out a few wrinkles. My first time doing a cell tower, but it was a learning process for me after the tower's delivered. There's different adjustments and calibrations that are required on their part to provide consistent coverage throughout the service area. So we were happy to deliver that. Projects in the works. What we plan to deliver in 2026 is at least phase 2 of the Old Anson Road that I referred to. Would be another almost 2-mile stretch of road that we would get down to what we refer to as the Big House Lagoon. That is the terminus of the inland waterway that starts at Wilson Village, winds its way all the way through the Bluff, and will terminate at Big House Lagoon in the Anson planning area. So we're planning that in 2026. We have an additional 36 lots in not necessarily an extension of Moreland Forest, but these are lots that will be on the Lagoon and 9-hole Crossroads Golf Course that we completed in 2023. And then we have a big push this year for the planning and permitting for our Crossroads amenities. We are planning at Crossroads to create not necessarily another village, but a very large family-friendly sports, fitness, and wellness complex. We have engaged with Lake Flato. If any of y'all are familiar, they are a world-renowned architect land planning firm out of Texas. They were involved in the development, in the architecture and planning of some of the Moreland Village. So we have engaged them and have had our first few kickoff meetings with them to get the process started. But again, I mean, we are planning, 12, 15,000 foot fitness facility, racket sports, paddleball, pickleball, tennis, sports fields. Within the fitness, there will be, spas and the latest and greatest as far as we're concerned. We've engaged Blue Spas as a consultant working with Lake Flato, and we're really excited for the push that we're going to get. We're going to be in probably a year's worth of planning for Crossroads and start the permitting process. And with any luck, then we can break ground and start construction sometime in 27. Again, just a slide on the Anson Golf opening. For me, that was, I started on this project my first day on property 4 years ago. It was kind of bittersweet to see it open because now it's, I'm like, well, what do I do now? We finished that, but it's been very, very well received by our membership. And we're super excited. The Anson Road that I referenced and the utilities that we will bring with that. We opened this with, we're constructing a golf cottage that we will use as a temporary clubhouse. And that golf cottage will be utilizing well and septic until we can get the permanent utilities down there to build a permanent clubhouse. Once we get the permanent clubhouse, hopefully in 2 years, 2 to 3 years, we can start construction on that clubhouse. Then we will convert the cottage back to a golf cottage and put it on, sell it for members to utilize for their family and guests on the golf course. Again, Corey Crenshaw, lots of good reviews. And lastly, some numbers on the Montage, the hotel. This is the 11th anniversary of the Montage at Palmetto Bluff. Group business continued with 29,000 plus room nights. Continued wedding success, 43 weddings booked through the Montage with revenues of $7 million. With that came $1.3 million in A-tax paid to the town of Bluffton on the accommodations tax. And here, Experience Well Living Initiatives accounted for more than 425 activations and experiences throughout the year. So Montage is doing well, and in 2026, already exceeding the numbers at this point that they have business on the books that we had at this point in 2025. So we're looking forward to a really good year for 26. So that is our development, in a nutshell. Try to keep it short and sweet. And just any questions that you might have.
Any questions from council for Whit?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm not sure if it's a you question. Well, you can answer whatever you can get as a response. Great presentation, by the way. Thanks for all the updates, what you guys have going on. So with the development, and we know that you guys still have additional build out, that you or have the capacity for. Do you all also have in place like a reforestation plan in the sense of you had a lot of land that wasn't developed, and as you all start to do your buildup, of course, more of those trees and other areas are gonna, go away. Do you have a plan to be able to like replenish any of that?
Well, we don't have a reforestation plan, but our philosophy is always that the land dictates the design. So we do everything possible to integrate and preserve wherever possible the natural landscape. And as you know, in our development agreement, the Conservancy was created to manage under our development agreement. We're required to maintain a minimum of 5,000 upland acres that will never be developed. And then the Conservancy was created to manage not just the 5,000 acres, but all of the undeveloped property within Palmetto Bluff. So we don't necessarily have a reforestation plan, but we do conservation and preservation is always at the front of our mind, and it's part of our development strategy and planning.
Thank you, that's great, and I asked that because I know you guys do have a phenomenal conservancy group there. I know that's an undertaking that the town took on a few years ago where we weren't addressing that, to have a reforestation plan in the sense of as you add more, housing coverage, and like I said, the trees and clear cutting and all that take place, you do have to have something to add back, to them.
Yeah, and that's where we don't, we're not the typical developer. We're not the D.R. Horton or the Pulte or those type of home builders where, they do go in and they're going to build 100 lots. They'll go clear cut that 100 acres or 200 acres, whatever they need for that, and then they'll plant back a few street trees, and then they'll do a $3,000 landscape plan for each house, and then they're done. We clear enough land to put in the roads and then the lots. Everything is left natural. Home builders purchase a wooded lot, and then the home builder has to go through the design review board to be able to remove any trees on the lot to place their home. So they go under that scrutiny. Any tree removals, we consult with the Conservancy for removals, and sometimes if there is anything, if they purchase a lot and there's some type of significant or protected tree, significant tree we would not allow them to remove, but they would possibly have to mitigate for removing a desirable hardwood tree. We're not the typical builder in that respect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Will? Well, so looking at these numbers, it looks to me like y'all are about halfway home when you include the total amount that are occupied now plus the ones that are under construction. Under construction.
So we've got, if you look at what was it, 1216 and 340 and change. So we're not quite 1,700, and we have rights to 4,000. Will we ever find a way to build 4,000 homes? I don't think so. But we're about halfway home. But hopefully we've got 15 or 20 years, so I still have something to do for the next few years before we get built out.
Ms. Martin?
I do have one question, and I don't know, do you mind pulling up the map?
And I'm sorry, I don't have a map of the entire property.
I know that you talked about doing the new family center.
Yes.
Is that going to contain any kind of additional wedding venues, or do y'all have any plans for any other?
No, there's no wedding venue plan there.
Okay.
No, it really is a focus on health, wellness, and fitness. And our vision is that family could show up, kids could go to the pool or the multi-purpose field, the soccer field, while mom goes and takes a Pilates class and dad goes to the gym, and then they grab lunch, and then they go to the pool or play tennis, and we're trying to design something that family could spend the whole day there if they wanted to.
Well, you know, this is one of your best presentations. You know why?
Why is that?
You didn't ask me anything. But good job. This is a great update, and keep doing good work.
Yeah, thank you. And I say to you all the time, to every one of you, and I'm happy to call and ask you individually, but as you know, there's always an open invitation. I'd love to have you out and just show you anytime you have questions. Please reach out. I'm happy to show any or all of you, the property, whether it's just a tour, a coffee, or lunch, whatever it is. I can take you out.
So did I hear you well when you said you hope to finish the road to Anson by the end of 27?
If all goes well, if we could possibly build it out in 2 years. Sometimes that's dependent on some of the utility companies that we have to deal with. If I just had to build a road, I could do it in a year. But getting the utility companies to approve and inspect, and it draws out the process a little longer. But yeah, best case scenario, I think we could do it by 27, into 27.
Okay. Thank you. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Mr. Kevin Icard with the Town Annual Development Agreement update.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. Every January, we like to provide an update on all of our development agreements. Obviously, Mr. Howard came in for Palmetto Bluff. It's always great to see how they're moving forward. So just to provide some context for the individuals that are in the audience as well as watching from wherever. So what is a development agreement? Obviously, the town is regulated by, 92% of the town is regulated by a development agreement. So it's a legal contract between the local government and property owners. And the intent is to, it provides, it's a planning tool, so that way we can use it for controlled growth. It sets the expectations. We talk about maximum build out. We'll mention that specifically for Palmetto Bluff. They have 4,000 units and they're working through that, and they're around the 1,500 mark. It also helps the town work on public dedications. Some examples include schools, parks, roads. A great example is Buckwalter Parkway and Bluffton Parkway, both parts of the development agreements. And it also locks in these regulations. So we use the term grandfathered. So a lot of these terms are grandfathered in. Specifically for Palmetto Bluff, they've got quite a way to go. They have until 2057 for their regulations. So that's how long their development agreement is allowed to continue as is. So with that, can you modify? Can you make changes to these development agreements? Yes, you can. And you'll notice, and we come in front of you sometimes with amendments. So I think we're at the 14th amendment of the Buckwalter development agreement. So there are times when things need to change, and if you find it amendable, then you move forward with that. So as long as all the parties agree to it, and then those modifications are approved via council in front of you, which does take 2 readings. So a couple updates from a zoning standpoint. This past year, we had an annexation request, and that was for property that was owned by Beaufort County School District, specifically the River Ridge Academy campus. They are moving forward, and actually we already have plans for their early childhood center. They're going to be expanding their site. But with that, they needed to annex the land into the town just for cohesion to work through, and specifically working with town staff. And you charged us, you had concerns about entitlements. We were able to make it so that way the land was then annexed in under a preserve. We did a text amendment to allow schools in the preserve, which does not need any development rights, and it eliminated any potential residential entitlements on the property. So kudos to you guys. We got that mixed in and have that moving forward now. So we talk about this annual summary, the number of rights, and I know everyone can read this with no problems up here. But what this is, you might hear the term, people say like, well, the town of Bluffton, you don't know where you're going. You don't have any control over what's happening. We do. We know exactly where we are. We know where we've come from and where we're going. Now, the market will dictate how fast that happens. But we keep track of all of this information, and we'll try to zoom in on this one a little bit more. But what this does is this is showing the build-out percentages, and I've got an image here in a second to articulate that. But this gives us an opportunity to kind of look through to see some of these development agreements and where they are in the process. So a great one would be for the Schultz track. That would be like Bluffton Park area. They are at 95% built out on residential rights. So you'll notice you don't see much happening around Bluffton Park area because it's already built out. A good example here, you can see, I like to do this every year. It's a year-over-year comparison as to where we were last year for the over 24 through 25. And you can still see that consistently what we're seeing is that the new Riverside area is where we're seeing the majority of the residential growth. So again, New Riverside, you can see it's at a 5% increase over 24 to 25. Palmetto Bluff is moving. You can see Buckwalter as well, a little bit, as well as Jones Estate. But then I also want to make note that the Village of Revere, you can see that 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 development agreement is actually expiring at the end of this year. So I have another process that's going to be coming in front of you guys, so we'll be bringing that forward. We're going to follow if you remember about a year and a half ago, Bluffton Village, their development agreement expired. So we're going to be coming forward with the same process, dealing with Village of Revere. So hopefully this spring, we're going to start that with a workshop with you and ultimately taking it through with tons of public involvement to make sure that as this document expires, that we have everything in place so that way there's no issues. So some of the development activities, and these are just highlights. This does not include everything that's happening, but just to kind of give you some ideas, some of the highlights we have, the VIII, that's our 12-unit affordable housing project that's under construction. The New Riverside Barn Park, you've seen what's been happening out there over the past year. Still under construction, but definitely moving forward with that. Crown at Buck Island Apartments, that's the 200 units that are currently, the land is being cleared. Indigo Townhomes, those are at the corner across from Eagles Field at Bluffton Parkway and Buck Island Road. Novant Emergency Department, the Cove, that's the building that we're working on at Buckwalter Place. That office, which is around the corner. The NUSC Medical Office, that's in front of the water tower. Compassion Church, there's 330-seat capacity there at Bluffton Village. And then multiple buildings that are coming online in New Riverside Village. So you can see that we have got a lot of activity that's happening in and around town. Just to show you some of the updates, the 537 certificate of occupancies, the 24 acres of annexed land, that was the River Ridge Academy. A lot of commercial square footage coming on, almost 500,000 square feet. 2,226 building permits. So our inspectors are out in the field working constantly, just making sure that everything is healthy or everything is safe. So that is a very, very high level of what's happening. I try to keep you guys involved or informed as projects are coming online via email. But I'm happy to answer any questions you may have and just go from there.
If you would you go back to the slide before this one? Right there. So, before we start taking questions, if I'm understanding, the entire town of Bluffton is 81% residential built out as we sit here?
Of the planned unit developments, of the 92% of the town. Yes, so these are based on the PUDs. Yes, sir.
Questions from council, Ms. Gordon?
No question, just great. This is a great presentation. I think it's very educational, informational, and informative. I'm sorry. And I wish we can get this out to people because I feel like so much of what we hear is just, misinformation. I think this really clears it all. So thank you for all of you did to make this.
Thank you.
Mr. Hamilton?
Palmetto Bluff said on this sheet is 24% built out. Will said they're about 50%.
Well, now that 24% build out is based off of commercial acreage and residential units. So it doesn't it's not necessarily based off of land mass, but just the numbers themselves.
Mr. Wood?
No, I'm good, thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you.
Ms. Frazier?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, thank you, Kevin.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, up next we have our public comment. If we could get the screen changed. This is supposed to be talking to us right now.
During public comment, each speaker is limited to a total of 3 minutes per meeting, regardless of whether the person is speaking on their own behalf or as an agent for others. Meeting attendees may not donate, transfer, yield, or give all or any portion of their speaking time to another person. All public comments are to be conducted from the podium and directed to the town council as a whole and not to any member thereof. All speakers shall be mindful and respectful of those participating in or present at the meeting. Speakers shall be expected to be civil in their language and shall refrain from comment or behavior that involves disorderly speech or action, name-calling, personal attacks, threats, obscene or indecent remarks, and/or disruptive actions. All speakers shall confine their comments to issues under the jurisdiction of the town council. Speakers shall not use the public comment period to promote or advertise awards, businesses, services, goods, or candidates for public office. Any speaker that violates these rules and protocols for public comment may be ruled out of order by the presiding officer. Any person whose comments have been ruled out of order shall immediately cease and desist from further improper comments. The refusal of an individual to desist from further improper comments may subject the individual to removal from the meeting and/or a citation under Section 2-49 of the Town Code.
Okay. Up first we have Miss Lynn Ann Casey. Lynn Ann Casey. We know the speaker. Up next, we have one of the most famous people ever walking in town of Bluffton, Mr. Emmett McCracken. You're up, sir.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, I'm Emmett McCracken. I live at 58 Stock Farm Road. The subject is the electric bicycle. 35 times I have jumped out of a perfectly good aircraft and landed safely on the ground. Some 65 years later, my concern for safety has shifted to the electric bicycle. They seem to only operate at full speed. They seem to be operated by folks that are too young to shave, and they are silent and almost can sneak up on you, behind you, and you not know they're there. Two observations, one on UG Cove Bridge. I was walking there one day, and two bicycles came full speed abreast off over that bridge, and they were holding hands. It looked like something you would see in the circus. And the other is the corner of Bridge in Calhoun, that major intersection. Two bikes were coming full speed from the direction of Town Hall, and they blasted through that intersection without any semblance of slowing down. I don't know whether they ought to be confined to the street or be on the sidewalk and the street, but it seems to be we need some consideration of safety and how they are going to be operated in the town. I'm too old to be jumping out of airplanes again, but I like to walk. And I don't want to have to walk and worry about an electric bicycle all at the same time. So I would appreciate your consideration in providing some safety and regulations on these contraptions. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And we, that's kind of, it's gotten out of control here recently. Not that it wasn't a problem last year, but we are hearing it and we have all intentions of trying to figure out what is best for everyone. And it's not just in Bluffton, it's national. It's all over the country, the same thing. So thank you, Mr. McCracken. Up next, Will Howard, do you want to speak again?
Yeah, I came to ask Councilman Hamilton for something. Will Howard, 65 Red Cedar Street, and not my original intent, but I echo Emmett's sentiments on the electric bicycles. I just wanted to speak to you tonight. You're going to be voting on an ordinance for the design standards, which was called the carport ordinance. And when that ordinance came through the Planning Commission for a recommendation, I actually made the motion to recommend approval, and apparently due to a poorly worded motion on my part, it was misunderstood by staff that I proposed eliminating completely the percentage of lot coverage from consideration of the ordinance, and that was not at all my intent. I just wanted you to know my intent was I was asking staff to scrutinize those numbers because I felt the percentages were possibly too high. That if you allow 60 and 80% lot coverage, especially on the smaller lots in Old Town, that is in the closest proximity to the May River with no stormwater BMP between those homes with 80% lot coverage and the river, it's going to result in a lot of, in my opinion, unnecessary runoff into the river. So my intent from the motion was not to eliminate it, it was to consider reducing the percentage of lot coverage that's in the table attached to each lot type. And I just wanted to clarify because I didn't want you thinking I would ever make a motion that would go in the wrong direction and jeopardize the river and then the runoff and whatnot into the river. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if the lady that signed up, obviously she was here, I guess. Oh, it was an email. Was concerning or from Palmetto Bluff. So I just want to make for anyone who's wondering, the town will be holding a mobile town hall at Palmetto Bluff on February 23rd at the Lodge, which is at 213 Waterfowl Road. And it'll be from 6 to 7:30, where town staff will be there to educate, answer questions, and all that. So if anyone wants to attend that. Up next, we have communications from council. Start with you, Ms. Frazier.
I just wanted to follow up with former Mayor McCracken's comments. I do hope that's something that we can put on our radar to discuss in the near future. I had a similar call come through about a group of about 8 kids at night. An accident happened off of the parkway with it, and many of those bikes don't have reflectors or lights, so the visibility of seeing them at a certain time has posed quite a few dangers. So definitely something I hope we can address soon.
Mr. Wood?
A couple of things to follow up on Ms. Frazier. So it is going to go to So Loco here, this discussion, put it out there. It's been talked about between the town of Bluffton and the county, but to put it out there for everybody to have the opportunity to put some input into that. And I also wanted to say, I looked up on my phone just a moment ago, but former President Bush did jump out of an airplane at the age of 90, Mr. McCracken, so you still have an opportunity here.
I think he was tied to somebody.
Mr. Hamilton.
Dan just took my thunder. I want to thank all of my supporters tonight for witnessing my swearing in. This has been a long journey, and most of you have put that journey with me, and I want to thank you, and I want you to know that I will do everything I can to continue to represent the town to my highest potential, and always know that I'm just a phone call away.
Ms. Burton?
I agree with what was said about the e-bikes. I think they have absolutely become a safety concern in our town. As much as I wish the parents would tell their kids what is appropriate and what's not appropriate, it just seems to be getting worse and worse. So I look forward to more conversations about that, and congratulations to you, and it is an honor to sit up here and serve the town that I love for the next 4 years.
Great, and I'll say again, congratulations to both of y'all. Congratulations to Mr. Hamilton for being elected as the new Mayor Pro Tem. And I also want to recognize Mr. Dan Wood, because the last 2 years, this is my first 2 years as mayor, so it's a lot of learning and a lot of work. There's a lot of things going on, and it takes up a lot of time, and I can't be everywhere all the time. Dan has done a tremendous job filling in, helping, advising. He's helped me do the best I could do. So I just want to say thank you, and you're not off the hook, because there's still work to be done. We'll move on to workshop. Well, we don't have any workshops, do we? Public hearing and final reading. Consideration of an ordinance to amend the Town of Bluffton's Municipal Code of Ordinance, Chapter 23, Unified Development Ordinance, Article 5, Design Standards, Section 5.15.8, Accessory Buildings, and Section 5.15.5A, maximum lot coverage. This will be second and final reading.
If you can call for a public hearing,
Yeah,
sir.
we'll first call for public comment on this current agenda item. Hearing none. Second call for public comment. Third call for public comment. Hearing none, this public comment is closed.
Thank you, sir. As you stated, this is the second final reading. There were some changes from first reading at your December 9th meeting. The changes were we increased the maximum footprint from 400 to the 600, and then we removed language under bullet point number 3. If you remember, it was at a minimum of 20 feet that we had we struck through that section of it. So. With that, I have a suggested motion for you. It's here, and I have it stated so that way it is Exhibit A, that is the actual text language, in Attachment 1 in the staff report.
Questions from council? Mr. Wood? Yes, sir. Mr. Hamilton? Ms. Burton?
I do have a question. I just wanted to say, and I believe I said it at the first reading of this last month, but I agree with what Mr. Howard said. I think the percentage lot coverage is important, but I question about the number and if it's too high. And I believe, and can you just confirm that we could look at those numbers specifically to update the Old Town Master Plan?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Okay.
The intent is we're going to go through an audit of the master plan, and then bring that in front of you and have an opportunity to determine how you'd like to move forward. And then once we actually go through the master plan process, those are some of those recommendations that we can look at potentially changing, and then have the justification to change it in the code.
Sure. And then one more question, and I apologize because I should have looked into this, but is there a setback requirement for a carport? Like, I know with the garden shed, there's not, with the carriage house, there is, obviously with the main structure, there is. Is there a setback for this?
It'll be 5 feet,
5 feet from
5 feet
property.
off, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion with council or questions? If not, would someone like to make a motion?
I move to accept the motion that's on the screen.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Up next, we have our formal agenda items. Authorization to amend contract number 2025-49 of the Historic District Sewer Phases 4, 5, and 6 construction, Jordan Construction of Hilton Head, by $205,805 to accommodate unforeseen field conditions. Mr. Rooney.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, and Happy New Year. As you know, the Jordan Construction has completed the mainline sewer work in phase 4, 5, and 6 of the Historic District Sewer Project, and they've extended the laterals to the property line. So now they're ready to do the connections on the property from between on the street to the private, to each residence. So in order to do so, staff and the contractor went out to the site, each property, and assessed the remaining work that's required to complete the connections on private property, and determined that some additional work and cost will be needed above the current contract limits. So I'm here tonight to submit the details of a proposed change order for your review and consideration. As you recall, probably the 4, 5, and 6 of the Historic Sewer District, 4, 5, and 6, include Lawrence Street, Green Street, east, both of those are east of Boundary Street, and then on each end of Water Street. Again, for a little background, the fiscal year 2026 budget included $1.7 million for this project. We also attained a $529,850 grant, 319 grant from SCDOT or SCDES to help with connection costs for the project. And then in April is when we came to council to get approval of the construction contract. The fiscal amount approved for that contract for this project was $863,784.90. That included a 10% contingency, and it was considerably less than what we actually had budgeted for the project. So construction commenced in July 2025, and then town staff began to get to obtain rights of entry from each property owner for the service connections. Once those rights of entry were attained, the contractor and town staff were able to really go out on site and fully evaluate the circumstances and existing conditions on each property and assess the construction obstacles and actual cost. For example, until this point, you don't know where the septic tank is located, what the elevation of the septic tank, until you go out there and get the right of entry and get access to the site. So the additional costs that we've incurred so far, they fall into two categories, really. One is sewer mainline connections, and the other is really the connections on private property. We ran into an unknown water line on Water Street down by the Church of Cross, which required us to send in additional funds to relocate a water line. And then on Green Street, we added 2 manholes and relined the proposed sewer line for a future Boundary Street streetscape drainage outflow. It was originally intended to go down in the middle of the right-of-way. We needed to move it over so that we could accommodate a future drainage outflow for the Boundary Street project. Those 2 items for mainline construction were covered under the original contingency for the project. So the next 3 items on the list are all related to connections on private property, and these things are what we're requiring for additional work for this project. First is there are 3 additional pump stations required for residential structures unable to provide gravity flow for the service connections to the street. This relates to where the septic tank is located, what the elevation is, and what the elevation is at the street. It turns out on three properties, the septic tank was too low to get gravity flow, so we need to do grinder pump stations to be able to do that.
Excuse me, are you saying, I was going to bring that up, that this additional pumps, there was no way to figure that out in the design?
It's difficult to get, when you don't have a right of entry to a property, and when you're surveying, you can only survey the property you have control over. So we survey the rights of way, and we try to get a shot in the front yard of each property so we kind of know the general elevation. But in a lot of cases, in this particular example, the septic tank is not in the front yard close to the clean out. It's in the backyard, and it's down near the water where it falls off, and the elevation is too low to get gravity flow to the street. So that's why we end up, in terms of not knowing, right of entries are only last for a year. Sometimes when we're designing this project, it's 6 months before we start construction or so. And if we get it then we may not have it for the period of time that we need it for construction. So we don't really go for those until we're done with the design, we get approval, and then we start construction. At that time, property owners are more likely to talk to you about it. Early on in the project, when you don't have something to show them, there's not construction activity, they're kind of reluctant to talk to you about right of entries, or they won't even answer your calls.
So what becomes of the pump stations?
What becomes of them? We have to install them with this connections.
Okay.
So, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Also, in this particular project, we found 2 additional connections on properties that had multiple septic tanks. So you might have an accessory dwelling unit on the property that had a separate septic tank at the main house. So we found 2 of those. So those were not in the original scope of the connection work. So that's another additional scope for this project. And then, of course, when you're doing these connections, you have to assess all the existing trees and hardscapes. Sometimes the septic tank will be underneath the patio in order for you to get access to that. So all that information is not known at the time of design. It's known when you get rights of entry and you can go out on the property and fully assess existing conditions.
I got a question.
Question?
Yeah, follow up from Dan's question. When you say the right easement or access to the property, the town is required to get those rights. But what about the contractor? Isn't he also required to bid based on knowing where those connections should be?
He can give us a price based on assumptions that's given to him, which is, well, the elevation in the front of the house is X, and the clean out is Y, and that maybe we can make that connection as long as that septic tank is in the front yard and there's not there's a long distance. So basically, he has to come up with kind of a contingency for each connection. I think in this case it was like $8,000, something like that. And if it turns out that there's a lot more to it, which happens in this case, then that's why we're here, for a change order.
What about the other bids? The other
Was there 2 bids?
2 bidders.
2 bids, and the other one was $1 million more or close to it?
They were close to numbers. They were, I think it was $100,000 more expensive.
The other bid was
he said it's only $100,000
$100,000 more originally. That's why Jordan Construction got it. And being familiar.
We've looked at his unit costs for pump stations, pipe length, boring costs that he gave us, that gave us this number, and they all kind of fall in line with what we paid in the past for these projects. So we're not concerned about, the contractor in this case taking advantage of the situation, because we have at least taken that step.
Thank you.
So as far as our request, the staff requests town council to authorize the town manager to execute a change order in the amount of $205,805. We asked for a contingency of $50,932 for any additional costs. We don't want to have to come back again, talk to you if we run into anything else along the way. We hope that's a not to exceed contingency, so if we don't use it, we don't charge that to the project. So the total fiscal impact for this would be $1,069,589.90, which is still well below the $1.7 million budgeted for the project. And
One last question. Our $1.7 million that we budgeted, that was from your evaluation of what the scope of the work was. Were you still looking to be under that evaluation when they sent out the bid?
it was, the contract was well under it.
I know.
And now it still will be well under it. It's just, when we came up with that budget, we based it on a lot of different sewer projects we've done in the past. And we bumped it up because we've run into problems with overages on sewer projects before. So that's why we have a pretty high, we asked for a pretty high budget on this thing. We were hoping to do it for a lot less.
Okay.
So the next steps would be, if you all decide to approve this, then the town manager would initiate a change order, and the contractor would start work. Upon completion of the connections, we would submit the project for a permit to operate, and then we expect the operational lines to be online sometime this spring.
Any questions? Any more questions from council? Ms. Burton?
No question.
Someone like to make a motion?
Mayor, I'll make that motion. I would like to make the motion to approve as shown on the screen.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
That's unanimous. Thank you, Pat. Okay, up next we have the consent agenda. Is there anything on here that any of council would like to remove or discuss? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Marcia. Okay, we're, next we have executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive sessions for discussions relating to proposed land acquisition within the Buckwalter PUD pursuant to South Carolina Freedom of Information Act 30-4-70A2, and personnel matters regarding town council appointees to boards, committees, commissions, FOIA 30.4-7. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
The third item also?
I don't see the third on mine.
Okay.
I thought there was three. I thought Chuck took one up.
No, we had the third.
It's just not on mine here. Also, so we have to go back and vote again?
We didn't vote.
Oh, we didn't vote. And number 3 on the executive session will be legal advice pertaining to an appeal of decision made by the Historic Preservation Commission pursuant to South Carolina Freedom of Information Act 30-4-7. So now, is there any discussion? Is there all in, we already have a motion, right? And a second.
Now you gotta do the motion again.
All right, Bridget made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
out here with it.
She's asking them a question.
Sorry.
Okay, someone want to make a motion?
Yes, that's agreement. Agreement, yeah. If that's the only one you couldn't read, that's pretty good.
You did pretty good. I move that we approve the mediation settlement in the appeal of Jason Alexander of the HBC decision in civil case number 2025-CP-07-02-353. The settlement is within the parameters set by the town council in the executive session on December the 9th, 2025. The town manager is authorized to sign the release agreement, and the lawsuit will be dismissed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
I did not go aye.
Oh, shoot.
It's okay, I was quiet. I was a no one.
Oh, okay, she's no. I'm sorry.
No.
You gotta say no.
I was thinking on after y'all said aye. I also have a motion. I make a motion to appoint Lisa Stolka to the Beaufort County Transportation Penny Tax Advisory Committee to recommend specific transportation projects for a potential penny sales tax to improve traffic infrastructure in the county.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Bridget?
I said aye.
Aye. Colin? Aye. That's unanimous. Is there a motion to adjourn? We are adjourned. Thank you, Paul.